Hello again from my front porch. It is a little overcast day here in Iowa. Temperature-wise, it's pretty moderate, especially considering that we're at the end of March here now. Yeah, and we've had some pretty extreme conditions here in the last few weeks. Today, not too bad, and the overcast nature of the day is good for the front porch. I mean, it creates this nice light. Makes me look all youthful and smooth skinned. I'll take whatever help I can get. But I want to address something a little, it is kind of serious and it's quasi-political, so strap in, because I don't like tackling, wading blatantly into political stuff very much, but every once in a while there's stuff being discussed that, yes, it's of a political nature, but it's got a broader impact than that. It's got a broader perspective than that, and that's kind of the way I feel about this particular topic. And that is the topic of celebrities having a platform to express their opinion, and not just a celebrity that feels motivated to use their platform, but the pressure on celebrities to use their platform. I think of Caitlin Clark, our basketball superstar from Iowa, who's just revolutionized the WNBA. Actually, made people aware the WNBA were even there because just the attention that league has gotten since she joined has been just phenomenal compared to what it was before. Anybody that says she has not had a positive impact on the WNBA, there's a radio show host used to be here in Des Moines that used to use the phrase, they're smoking their socks. I like that. That's a good one in this case. But there was a lot of pressure on Caitlin that she needed to speak up more. She needed to represent. She needed to speak out against, especially the pressure was that she needed to speak out about racism in the WNBA and in sports in general. And there were a lot of people that felt like she was being pushed into, people wanted her to go on the record about stuff with that because she's white. And a lot of her fellow players in the WNBA were not. And so that in and of itself had created some hostility and some divisive, really nasty social media online debates and rhetoric. And there were people that wanted her to wade into that. Now, wisely from her vantage point, she resisted. And when she finally did make some comments, it was very well thought out. I'll say that. She did not make any kind of pointed, take a stand kind of thing. Obviously, she didn't want to do that. I believe she was using the philosophy that there's a clip that's going all over social media of Mike Wallace interviewing Johnny Carson, the king of hosting the Tonight Show. All other late night talk show hosts are now compared to generally unfavorably because Johnny Carson, he was just it. Even when he was off, even when he had a bad night. I don't mean off the show because there were a lot of times he was gone. He had a guest host, but even if he had an off night where things just weren't going well, he somehow managed to even make those times entertaining, and he engaged with the audience really well, and he engaged with his guests really well, and he just built this really wonderful following because he didn't make it about himself. He made it about the viewer, really, ultimately, and nowhere does that show through more than when Mike Wallace was asking him about people that were challenging him, that he didn't use his platform of being this king of late night hosting the Tonight Show to make political stands, to stand to make statements about serious social issues. And so here, I'm just going to insert the little clip here. You've probably seen it. I said it's been all over social media, but it's relevant here. So here's Johnny Carson, in his own words, talking about why he abstained from doing any of that. Here you go.
Sensitive about the fact that people say he'll never take a serious controversy. Well, I have an answer to that. I said, now, tell me the last time that Jack Benny, Red Skelton, any comedian, used his show to do serious issues. That's not what I'm there for. Can't they see that? But you're not. Why do they think that just because you have a Tonight Show that you must deal in serious issues? It's a danger. It's a real danger. Once you start that, you start to get that self-important feeling that what you say has great import. And you know, strangely enough, you could use that show as a forum. You could sway people, and I don't think you should as an entertainer.
So you see, I really like what Johnny said there. You notice, Johnny does not say he doesn't have any opinions. Johnny does not say that he doesn't have a preference as to the way things should go. Johnny does not say that he doesn't believe it's important for people to be involved and to stress their opinion. He says, my role, the reason I am there hosting the Tonight Show, is not to take on that role, but to give the viewers something else. He doesn't say it specifically here, but I've read it in other places where Johnny alludes to he feels like his role, especially during times of great turmoil, was to give the viewers an oasis, a respite, an escape from the harsh realities of what was going on in the real world, to give them a little moment to step away, to pause, and to regather their thoughts. And that's, I think that's awesome. That's really, really great. But he was under this pressure for that. And that's he's been gone, he's passed away for a couple of decades now. So he's this is not new. This is nothing that just popped up on the radar just recently. However, it does seem that with each passing year, there is this constant push for us to be as divided as we can be, and the pressure is on celebrities to use your platform, speak up, take a stand. We expect you to use that platform. Okay? Time out. I've observed, first of all, I disagree with that. I agree with Johnny Carson's view. I believe that an entertainer, whether it's a TV movie star, whether it's a music performer, whether it's a basketball or an athlete, a national athlete, celebrity type person, whatever your role of celebrity status is, your job is to entertain. That is what you're getting paid for. I mentioned professional celebrities. Let's talk about a professional celebrity who took a stand, who used their platform. A guy named Colin Kaepernick. Man, he had a lot of skill as a football player. I don't think he had quite as much skill as nostalgic people want to look back on, but he did have skill. I'm not taking that away. He did have skill. But he's not remembered for his skill. He's remembered for his protesting. Colin Kaepernick, of course, being famous for taking a knee during the singing of the national anthem. Now, I sing national anthem a lot at a lot of different sporting events. Never at an NFL game, but I sing, and a lot of people are really shocked when I tell them that I don't have a problem with someone kneeling during the national anthem. I don't have a problem with someone choosing to sit instead of stand, that they want to sit out, stand. I don't have a problem with those things. The reason I don't have a problem with that is because that individual, when Colin Kaepernick chose to kneel during the national anthem in an unintentional way, he was acknowledging the importance of that 1.5, 2 minute time that song is being performed. Oh, he wasn't standing with his hand over his heart, respectfully facing the flag, which is what you're supposed to do. True, he wasn't doing that. However, he chose to protest during that moment, and as such, he was acknowledging the moment itself has significance, which is a lot more than I can say for fans who are in the stands not paying attention during the national anthem, talking to each other, making phone calls, drinking their beer, joking, yucking it up, looking at pictures, doing whatever. And again, I sing national anthem a lot of events. I've seen a lot of that. Meanwhile, many of those people who are standing there not paying attention, not putting their hand over their heart, not being respectful while the anthem is being sung, are some of the very same people who threw stones at Colin Kaepernick. That is hypocrisy. We want our celebrities to take a stand. We want our famous people to stand up for things as long as they stand in a way that I approve of. Now, if you're a Colin Kaepernick fan, you're sitting back going, yeah, you tell him, Paul, you tell him, Paul. Okay, hold on. I'm about to offend you too. Because another trend that I've noticed, and it has been over the last, 12 years, maybe longer than that, but it really, again, every year seems to get worse. That is this, I don't know any other way to say it, except it is okay for celebrities who lean way to the left to be vocal about their beliefs without it impeding their profession at all, not interrupting their job opportunities, their work opportunities at all, not causing any grief to the fans at all. But let a celebrity use their platform to express what they believe and say things that lean to the right of the political spectrum, and all hell breaks loose. And I don't mean that figuratively. I mean that literally. Let's take a look. You think, oh, Paul, you're overreacting. That's not the way it is. Really? Okay, hold on. Let me walk you down memory lane. You know, the Colin Kaepernick thing, that's not someone who's leaning to the right, okay? And so here's an example of somebody who is I don't even know that he would say, at least at the time, that he was leaning to the left. He probably would have said he's more to the middle ground, but still, the people, especially way over the right, had big issues with that. And when, okay, yeah, I get that. But let's just look at some other people, some other big celebrities. I'm going to start with one of my favorites, Gina Carano. Carano? I don't know her, so I don't. But she was a huge rising star. She was on Disney's, or I guess Lucasfilm, but they own the Star Wars universe now. But so she was on The Mandalorian, that breakout series that was on Disney Plus, and her character was so popular. This strong, dynamic, really, beloved character was so strong, they were setting up to launch a spin-off focused on her. And everybody was excited about this until she started posting stuff saying she supported Donald Trump. And she started posting things that she didn't trust the COVID messaging and the vaccination messaging, which we now, in hindsight, see that a lot of the stuff that people were asking questions about was legit. A lot of the conspiracy theories that were floated then and shot down for being conspiracy theories and have turned out to not be quite so crazy after all. But at the time, we of course didn't know that. We were just accepting what was being fed to us wherever. But Gina was one of those people who said, wait a minute, hold on. I have questions. I have issues. I don't think blah, blah, blah. And in response to those kind of comments, she got savaged. She got fired by Disney from everything in the Star Wars universe. And I don't know that I don't know that her career will ever recover from that. Then let's talk about here. This ought to set some of you off. Let's talk about Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. Now, J.K. Rowling was adored. Oh man, people loved the Harry Potter books and the stories and the movies came out. That's great. until J.K. Rowling took a stand against transgender women participating in female sports or getting access to female bathrooms with biological females. She didn't feel that those things were right. Now, she's by far and away not alone in that opinion. And in fact, there are official sport agencies around the world who agree with that mindset. And yet, I still see people that will post things about what a horrible person she turned out to be, how awful and closed-minded and hateful she is because, and I literally saw somebody say, because she turned on her core audience. I'm assuming that means gay, lesbian, bisexual, but especially transgender. And here I thought her core audience was children. What do I know? But my point being, J.K. Rowling did not change. She's still the exact same person she was when everybody was lauding her, except she used her platform to talk about some things that people over on this end of the spectrum didn't like, and they very loudly have now labeled her as a bad person because of that. Actors, James Woods has done a lot of great movies. He's done some TV work as well that was extremely well received, and he as an actor was extremely well received until he came out as being pretty staunchly conservative. Started, taking shots at stuff that was going on way back even in the Obama administration, and then has continued in that vein. And because of that, many people over here now dismiss him as this fruit nutcake, to the point that in the most recent fires, wildfires, that took out so many of the wealthy homes in California, he was one of the people who lost his home, lost everything. And I literally saw people commenting how happy they were that it was time that this awful, horrible, evil man, because of what he has expressed politically, it was time that he paid the price for his worldviews. Now think about that. Not liking someone's political views so much that you actually celebrate that his entire home and everything he owns is destroyed by wildfire. I mean, how sick does the person have to be to find joy in that? I don't care who it is. There are celebrities and politicians that I don't care for, but I would never, ever wish that kind of disaster on somebody, ever. Apparently there are a lot of sick and twisted people that would. And yet, they point their fingers at him and say, he is the sick and twisted one. Are you sure about that? Kirstie Alley was another example, and may she rest in peace. I of course, a lot of people know her from Cheers. I always know her from Star Trek, from Star Trek 2, The Wrath of. She played Saavik, the female Vulcan, and unfortunately, she only played Saavik in that one movie and did not return in the subsequent appearances of Saavik, which was a shame because I thought she did a really great job with that character. But anyway, she had been in the Church of Scientology and other stuff, but she went on to actually then step out of some of that and start bringing. And in the process, she became a pretty outspoken conservative online. And all of a sudden, these people who adored her and loved her start just trashing her. Even after she died way too young, people were saying, well, and I saw on Twitter, or X now, whatever, I saw people saying, thank God, one less conservative moron. Again, how horrible do you have to be to have that kind of response? I just don't get it. But let's shift out of Hollywood. Let's go back to sports for a moment. How about Harrison Butker? Butker. I always want to put an extra syllable in there. Harrison Butker, the great kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, he's awesome. Why, there's so many Kansas City Chiefs games that they've won by his leg, literally. And yet, he has the audacity at a religious university to stand up and where he is asked to address a graduating class from this religious university, to stand up and talk to them and express thoughts from his religious perspective. Oh, the horror! How can you imagine? Can you imagine making personal religious remarks in front of a graduating class of a religious university? I mean, the shock. But here's the funny thing. He was only speaking to that group. He didn't do like Colin Kaepernick. He didn't do his thing in front of a national TV audience, at a game. No, he was just speaking to this graduating class. But people took the comments he made there and blew them up all over the place because he talked about a religious viewpoint of a very traditional family dynamic. Now, I'm not going to say I even fully agree with everything that he expressed, although I understood what he was saying and I get where it came from for him. And I also know that it tied in with the beliefs of the school that was having the graduation. But it did not fit with what a lot of other people believe outside of that scenario. And they then took their view, their interpretation. They took what he said and treated it as if he was saying it to them, and they rejected it and him, and man, everybody wanted to just bring down fire on him. When I don't think he had done anything wrong. He did exactly what he was asked to do. Give religious remarks to a religious event. It'd be like someone being asked to stand up in church and give a lesson or I won't say a sermon because I think those generally is the minister, but a lay person giving a passage or giving their thoughts on something. You would expect it to be religious. But anyway, I could dwell on that because I really did not understand the hysteria over that. Stop and think about where this took place, people. Think about who the audience is. You weren't the audience. Think who it was. But anyway, I digress. I have even better people than Harrison. Let's talk about the new hot topic right now. I hope you're sitting down like I am. Elon Musk. No, really, seriously though. Here's a guy who, up until really recently, was pretty universally adored. He was this brilliant guy he did PayPal, he did SpaceX, he did Tesla, and forget the companies even, all these other little things that he's done. You can find, just Google Elon Musk accomplishments. It's a long list of things, and it's not just companies started. It's all these other entrepreneurial things and things he's invested in, ways that he's helped, different things. Everybody revered him. He was exalted as this guy. And man, he gave money hand over fist to all kinds of causes. But then he just had to go and align himself with Donald Trump's administration. Oh, Elon, what are you doing? When we say we want celebrities to stand up and take a stand and use their platform, use their position to make a difference, we don't mean a difference to the right. We mean a difference to the left. What is wrong with you? Did you not get the memo? But seriously, the reaction to Elon stepping out of the shadows and into the arena, as Teddy Roosevelt called it, the man in the arena speech is a great part of a much longer speech he gave. You should look that up too. I should have actually printed out and read it to you here. That it would fit perfectly with this. But anyway, Elon Musk now is so hated and so vilified because he's leading a department that's trying to root out where there's waste and fraud and excessive overspending on things, which incidentally many other politicians have said that they want to do. In fact, there's a really cool video out there that juxtaposes between Barack Obama and Joe Biden, talking about how in their administration they're going to be doing exactly what Elon Musk and his department are doing right now.
Budget reform is not an option. It's a necessity.
The American people are entitled to transparency.
We can't sustain a system that bleeds billions of taxpayer dollars on programs that have outlived their usefulness or exist solely because of the power of politicians, lobbyists, or interest groups.
They're entitled to be able to figure out where their dollars are going, and they're entitled to accountability to make sure that we're using the dollars for what we said it was for.
We are going to go through our federal budget, as I promised during the campaign, page by page, line by line, eliminating those programs we don't need and insisting that those that we do need operate in a sensible, cost-effective way.
What should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody.
We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue.
No amount of waste is acceptable.
But it was never actually done. It was just talked about before. And now it's being done using the same agency that Barack Obama did create as part of all of that talking about doing something. But again, I digress. Elon Musk now is so hated that even the Teslas that were lauded as the green energy solution, there's other electric cars out there now too, but Tesla was the driving force and it was the crown jewel and everybody wanted a Tesla, blah, blah, blah. But now, because this celebrity has taken a stand that it's the wrong stand. No, when we said take a stand, we didn't mean that stand. Because of that, now there are domestic terrorists. I'm going to call them that. Not vandals, domestic terrorists who are going out and firebombing Teslas owned by private individuals, not Elon Musk. Elon Musk already got their money when they bought the car. In fact, Elon Musk doesn't even own, maybe 13% of Tesla? So, so he doesn't even get all their money anyway. But the Teslas, attacking them, destroying them, burning them, and the owners of those Teslas are, by and large part, over here on the left. They're not over here on the right. People on the right are still buying the big gas-guzzling pickup trucks. It was the left-leaning people who are buying the environmentally friendly electric vehicles, especially the Tesla as a status symbol, because they're trying to save the environment, which is what they're concerned about here. And yet, people dislike Tesla so much, they're burning and attacking and keying and destroying these vehicles bought by these people, their own people. Makes no sense to me. But let's just, while I've waded this far in, I might as well go for the crown jewel. Donald Trump himself. Now, I've said before, I'm not a Donald Trump fan at all. I think he's a thug. I think he is. A lot of people call him a con man. I don't know that I would call him that specifically, but I do think that he is let's call him a wheeler dealer that will do whatever he thinks he needs to do and say whatever he needs to say to get the deal that he wants. And so, I'm always a little skeptical about everything about him. But here's what I do know. Before he declared himself politically to be over here, he was adored. Why, he had cameos in almost every movie and TV show imaginable. He had The Apprentice. It was that people were watching and just seeing all kinds of records and stuff, for viewing numbers. Everybody wanted to be on this show. He would show up on talk shows. He'd be interviewed, and the ratings would be. And he was giving out money hand over fist, giving donations to groups here, but also groups here. And because he was giving big donations to groups here, they gave him all kinds of awards because of his entrepreneurship and his support for what they're doing. Even the NAACP gave him an award. He stood there next to Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali. It is Donald Trump with these people being recognized. And yet, as soon as he starts being a conservative, as soon as this celebrity uses his platform to take a stand in that direction, now Orange Man bad. Now this man he's just a fool. He's just Don the Con. That's what he is. And just unleashing and we went through all that during the first 4 years that he was president, and we're barely into the next 4 years, and it's all just woof right there. The irony is the people who just spew all of this stuff will say that the reason they don't like him is because he fosters hate. Well, apparently he fosters hate in them, that's for sure. There are a lot of people over here who don't care for him much either, though, to be honest. And I don't think really anybody in the DC establishment really likes him at all because of how he's just messing up everything that they've worked all this time to build, which is, actually honestly one of the things I like about him. I kind of like the bull in the china shop thing, to some extent. I'm not saying everything, but I kind of like the lack of reverence for status quo, of saying, nope, you know what? There's no reason for this. Boom. I remember the movie Dave, that with Kevin Kline, and there's a scene in there where he's the president. He's not really, I don't want to spoil it for you, but he's a president lookalike. The real president suffers a stroke and is debilitated, and so his staff convinced this lookalike to pretend to be the president. And so he takes it seriously and actually assumes being president and sort of overrides these handlers who are illegally manipulative, because he's not the guy that the nation elected. And so you have to watch the movie. I really love the way it turned out. But there's one scene where Kevin Kline, as the president, he's done his homework behind the scenes and worked on budgeting stuff. And he sits in the cabinet meeting, and he starts challenging the cabinet members about frivolous big programs being spent, and in response to that, he's able to get some commitment to some changes because the media is there covering all of this and stuff. And people see that scene and we cheer. Woo, yeah, that's the way it should be, which is what's going on right now. But now we're not cheering because it's real life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if you don't like Gina Carano, J.K. Rowling, James Woods, Kirstie Alley, Harrison Butker, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Colin Kaepernick, if you don't like any of those people, even Johnny Carson. I don't know why you wouldn't like Johnny Carson, but let's say you don't like him. Even if you don't like any of those people, that's okay. I'm not here to tell you that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong with that. I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong if you're over here or if you're over here. I'm here to simply point out the hypocrisy. When we say we want our celebrities to take a stand, we want our celebrities to use their platform, that means we should allow them to say what they want to say, not what we're going to force them to say. Or if they don't say that, we're going to drive them out of the business. We're going to ruin their name. We're going to badmouth them and anybody who supports them. See, if that is your approach, and I don't care if you're on either side, If that is your reaction to people you don't like what they say, that you don't like them standing up for what they believe, then you and I are never going to agree, because that's wrong. That is hypocritical. And more than that, here in the United States of America, where we pride ourselves on freedom of speech, that is fundamentally First Amendment wrong. Now, First Amendment only applies to what the government does. Totally understand that. But conceptually, we are a land of free speech. And that should include our celebrities. All right. That's all I got for you. I just had to get that off my chest because I just keep seeing so much of this scrolling through my feed, and it bugged me. So now you can chew on it, and I don't know, maybe it will bug you, maybe I will bug you. Whatever the case may be, I guess we'll find out if I see you next time from my front porch.